So before we push a little bit too far into day 3, let's actually recap day 2, guys. We actually accomplished quite a bit here. Level 25 actually should be the sweet spot, about halfway to 26, where you should be basically able to kind of see visibly, all right, I've accomplished everything I needed to for that day. Now, when we're getting into like unit investment, what you want to kind of see, Leon obviously is my first 6-star that I decided to go with. Now, there is some things that change with that, and I'm gonna have that pop up at some point. The hyperlink charter did shift a little bit. So what they actually did change was that very, very last page. The last page, you had to like do 6-starring and all that extra crap for Leon. Now you do not, okay? What that page is actually going to consist of here is that you just need to take Leon's max level epic shell all the way up. You need to defeat and use Leon and Terramatan Nightmare 2. And then from there, everything else is like defeat Febian hard 10 times, use her to also defeat Febian Nightmare. And then, of course, you're also going to have fully equipping Leon with epic high or higher modules. So you do not have to take her to level 50. But what you do have to do, you do have to take her to level 45, which is right on the cusp of being able to take her to 6-star. So do I still recommend taking her to 6-star to maybe help out with those missions and then resetting her? Yes, I would say that that actually would help you out a ton, because she's probably going to be more than likely most people's main DPS, unless you decided to go with like the Tia strat and stuff like that. So that is just kind of that, right? Now, the main thing I would say here too, guys, which is really important, that there is a system in the game, for those that don't know, and I'm gonna come back to this, that you can reset characters. It is the Animus reconfigure, all right? So the very first reset is actually going to be free, right? And at this point, if I decided I want to reset Leon, I get back everything that I put into her. So I just want to recap that real quick. So those are like, oh man, I don't really want to build her. You can focus for the hyperlink charter. And then from there, if you decide you want to go for another DPS, say Messiah or anyone else, you can take everything that you put into her and you can basically, you know, put it into another character. All right. So with that, we still got Leon as our 6-star. We got Rosa here. That's actually worked up as our next candidate for becoming a 6-star. We got Freya here at 5-star as well, about to push her to level 45 so we can get some more bulk on her. We ended up actually pulling Lilith, and dude, I've been getting like shafted beyond imagination. 260 pulls in. We literally, I would say the last multi of the day was probably our best multi, and again, that was still at pity. So it was like, it's just been crazy. But either way, we got Lilith. We've been using her on our Doki Doki team. We also still using Dinah, helping us out tremendously in most content at this point, minus Doki Doki. We ended up pulling Hellkid in the very last multi that we got. I actually didn't use him in day 2. I started to build him up for day 3. But again, like I said, we're recapping day 2 first. Still using Gray in some scenarios. I might actually do some other stuff, might still use him. We'll see where, you know, where we might need him. I think I might need him for Doki Doki though. So there's kind of that. Number 41 is our turn meter pusher still. We have not pulled a Chiaki the Echo. We actually ended up, unironically, we ended up actually pulling Lily, but for this progression, we're not actually using her because the whole point was to try to do this without any light and darks, so that I can show you guys that you can get to end game, or, you know, relatively close within whatever allotted time we have to play to be able to still progress and get through the game, right? So yeah, we did get her, but she's going to be benched. We still are using Dorothy for our heals, and then we have Kraken for our CC, right? So that's kind of making up both, you know, between our Terramatan and our Doki Doki setups. That's basically the units that we've been utilizing, right? Minus the Hellkit. So from there, when we're looking at the hyperlink charter, we were basically able to complete the commission Chronicles. So we're now pushing Chronicles 2. We're on the first page. We could have actually finished this first page day 2, end of day. But after streaming for 12 hours, I decided we would just do the Ember track, because that's going into the tower mode, which we'll talk about in a second, in our day 3 progression, right? So we'll talk about that at that point in that next video. Now, the Animus Fate, like I mentioned before, expert training 2, you got to do the training, the 10 fights on Terramatan Nightmare. That's something that I just haven't done yet. But once you do that, again, like I mentioned, I'll have that pop up again. The page that you're going to be seeing is going to have this requirement on the very, very last page for expert training 3. And this is just to kind of give you a little bit of a preemptive foresight and just kind of knowing what you need to do. And so from there, once you complete those things, I would say that that's the safest point to reset your Leon, so that you, if you want to, you can get back all the resources that you put into her, put into another character, or you can continue to use her as is, right? So with that being the case, you know, shell tuning, This is something that we're basically on the 6th page right now. We need to start collecting more epics. So this is going to come into play with you farming, Febian. That's where you first start getting your first set, I would say, of epic shells. And then, of course, being able to recycle them. Arena trials should have unlocked at this point as well. And we just did our first page for, for the heroic bronze. Now, what my advice would be is making sure that you have been doing arena preemptively. People have been asking, have I been doing refills on arena? Yes. And I'm not doing it like infinitely. I'm doing it for the purpose of being able to push as far as I can before before the tiers get a little bit too sweaty, right? And that's just so that I can get as much Etheria currency as I can to also help fill this out and get as much resources from this. So this is why we're doing this stuff preemptively, right? Now, I didn't collect it because, again, that goes into day 3. Now, module modification as one of the last ones. The last one that we actually completed, Nightmare Terramatan, because that was also a goal, right? You had to beat Nightmare Terramatan, Nightmare Doki Doki. That's what was a big part of the completion, I would say, for day 2, right? Now, when we actually get into those dungeons, right? Let's go to our modules, Nightmare 1, as you can see. Let's talk about our Nightmare 1 team, just to kind of give a little bit of recap there and some tips. I had a lot of people coming into the stream that were like, Zox, like my team is just not working. And a lot of the times, and that's actually going into day 3. Hold on, let's actually put back what we had. It was Dorothy. So this is what we did on stream. We actually cleared Nightmare 1 with this exact team: Leon, Dorothy, Dinah, number 41, and Freya. Same as day 1. Now, a lot of, players are coming in like, hey man, my team is falling apart. Like, what exactly is the issue? A lot of the time they were missing some form of damage amp or defense break, some sort of debuff to help Leon or whoever you're using as their main DPS to do more damage. So that was like the missing thing. So technically Dinah doesn't need to be here. You still minimum need a defense break. Like you gotta have something. Of course, even with Gray, he comes with the crit rate up buff. So that's something that he helps out with allowing you to crit more often. So that scales your damage into the defense break, right? So you need to have somebody. It needs Dinah, Gray, somebody that's going to be defense breaking. I would say from there, rotation is a really, really big thing too. So like I said, I'm using number 41, which is bare minimum. Some people are running around with Doki Doki, Freya, and still are having a hard time. A lot of it is like mixture, maybe the bulk on them for them to stay alive, that opportunity and really scaling the damage that your Leon or whoever's your DPS is dealing, and then giving a little bit more value, I would say, to your healer so that they can give you a little bit more value. Dorothy, attack scaler, so just kind of keeping that in mind. But everybody else is pretty standard, go HP and speed and stuff like that, right? So that's basically that. Now, real quick, before we actually go over to Doki Doki, I just want to show you guys my gear, because that's another really important thing at this point. Because remember, you're able to do hard 3 beforehand. If you're having trouble still with nightmares, your gear needs to start looking like this, okay? You need to start looking at your gear and saying like, okay, do I have epic gear, right? Now, with my epic gear, I've been swapping stuff around. Really, in reality, when I did this, my left side was plus 12. That gear I've since swapped over to my Rosa. And so we're working on her gear, but that's what you'll start to notice, right? The trend is that my units are all sitting on epic gear. Even if they're not plus 12, they're still epic gear. They still give you way more stat value, even at the respective level 9 compared to the rarity before, right? So that's ultimately what you want to start pushing. You want to start getting more of that epic gear put on your characters. Start throwing out this purple gear, the unique gear, the rare gear, that got to go, right? And that's what I'm starting to shift off now. You got to get off of that, right? And even just like investing and over investing, do not over level on those. These are like the first pieces I would say you would start taking up to plus 12. And then from there, when you get to outstanding are pieces that can actually go up to like 15 and stuff like that too. So yeah, it's a little bit of a different game at that point. But yeah, so that would help with that. Now going into Doki Doki, just to kind of show you guys what I used to clear this. Let's actually go into the challenge. Very, very simple. All I alternated in was Lilith. Lilith is just another form of like extra damage or passive damage, and then CC. right? So that's really what she's bringing to the table. She does have some pushback, which does help out tremendously. But my main source of damage was my Rosa, right? So like I told you guys, I picked Rosa in the very beginning for the purpose to see how well she would perform, and she does enough damage. The only thing you have to make sure is that your Kraken, who's also on this team, somebody's removing that damage reduction. So if you don't have like Lilith, anyone that can maybe taunt, I know you guys that have Tiamat, that's who's going to be slotted here, right? So Tiamat's going to be that character for a lot of you guys that are pushing with her. Paired up with Kraken, you might have Sania in here for sustain. If you're finding your units aren't surviving the waves, then yeah, go sustain. Because again, that actually is going to be a little bit better than maybe rotating faster, because you'll always have more HP to take hits versus your HP is never actually being restored. So as the fight goes on, your units are just being exhausted. So that's like, the biggest thing there. And of course, like I said, the gear and making sure you're starting to work in epic gear is going to be really, really important at this point, right? So that's basically that. Very, very simple in what we did. I know somebody's going to ask about like speed. My fastest character is actually my Freya, which she has plus 59 speed. Okay, like you do not need to have and that's just maintaining basically a full bonus, right? Shell, we got 14 speed. We're using the embrittled science. Yes, we were. So we're not even getting like max value speed because we're shifting even our shells. And that's the next thing too, guys, the shells. All right. The shells, you should start shifting into things like Twilight Night. I think what's the other one here that we have? I think it's Black Flag, right? And that's actually going to be coming from Febian. So before you even get to the point of getting those, let's actually go to challenge here and let's go to our shells. Okay. Kururu, let's talk about that real quick. Okay. For those that are stuck on Kururu, trying to push that, what do you need to do? I'm gonna show you my team comp that I actually use for this. The team comp that I actually use for this is actually like very simple. It's literally Leon, Dinah, which could be replaced with Gray. And then I use Lilith, really honestly, just for the sake of having her, but anybody can really go in this slot. You can go more sustained. You can go more turn meter push. You can it really depends on what you have, or whatever's the most built up, but bare minimum requirements. You need someone that can nuke. You need someone that's gonna give you defense break or help you amp your damage, and then rotation, right? That's the bare minimum. And the entire premise of this, and I'll just show you guys, right? The entire premise is to get rid of these jellyfish that spawn in. If you can't get rid of those, then Kuru is just going to cook you and you can't do damage to them. So the entire purpose is that you want to make sure that you're getting rid of those jellyfish, right? Because that's ultimately going to be what allows you to be able to beat this fight, right? That's going to be the entire premise of everything. Like if you can't, honestly, if you can't deal with that, then you need to obviously increase, DPS or something, because you got to nuke these guys. Because the longer they're here, honestly, the harder it is for you to get through this fight. So between that, right, before Kuru can even go, we're already dealing massive amounts of damage to him. And so then when we get hit, he's not actually nuking us. So what you'll notice is if those jellyfish are still there, he will be able to nuke. And so from there, that's kind of how the fight goes. And then you're able to auto it from there. And as long as you kill him before he resets the jellyfish, you're fine, right? So it's very, very simple. Now, Febian is where the challenge really presents itself, in my opinion, because this is going to require a little bit of a shift in your gear. So hard is the first one that you need to clear. I would say Nightmare, you can technically try to have cleared before end of day 2. But again, I just kind of ran out of time. But with hard, the biggest thing is though, let's actually talk about the team a little bit. I actually decided to beat this with, again, very, very simple stuff. It's Leon, Freya, Dinah, Dorothy. Okay. Dinah, of course, can be alternated out with Gray, because remember the attributes of this boss here is constant and disorder. So you don't have to worry about an attribute disadvantage scenario really here, because most of your RGB should be fine. Now, the biggest thing is here is that you got to make sure that you're nuking. Again, it's the same setup, right? You're trying to nuke here and you want to get as much damage amp. Again, this is why Freya is so good, because she offers some of that to you. And that's 15% more damage that you get there. Really important to make sure you get a defense break here. You're also getting vulnerability where you can. If you can get that full stack, we didn't get it here, that might be a reset. And it's okay to do stuff manual the first time because you just need to clear it. So here you usually would try to go for a cleave, boom, push back, rotate. And then again, if there was more of that debuff, and you could even see it, right? excuse me, you could actually see it here in the HP. When you have more of the debuff stacks, you actually can see how much of an HP difference there is, even just here on the 2 side ads. So being able to get those debuffs to land, having enough effect accuracy, and investing in the skills is also going to be really important. So at this point, it's all random. Wasn't able to kill, but that's okay. And the reason why we run our sustain, we're going to go damage amp here, is so that when she does that hit, we can restore that. Boom. And then boom. And then let's see here. Okay. And then same thing. We just go for the middle body at that point. You're just going to try to clean up the fight, go middle body. And once that is done, that's GG. And I think actually Dorothy can kill that. Oh, almost. Dorothy, if it was a deepest break, she would have been able to kill that. So that once you do that, the wave goes into the next one, and then Febian is actually going to be dark, right? So same thing here. You're just basically trying to make sure you have that cleared before you rotate back into your skill 3 on Freya. And then with that, you set up the entire thing all over again, right? I think Dinah might be a turn short. Yeah, she's like 2 turns short. So you just kind of try to stall, restore here where you can, and try to keep everybody alive. The whole goal here, of course, is just making sure that you deal with this before she starts to rotate you. She can CC freeze you. But that's where the Freya buffs are coming into play, because Freya's buffs is going to be applied to you. And anytime a freeze is supposed to proc, she'll purify it instantly. So now here we can actually go with our Leon. Boom, right? Crazy damage. We rotate. And then that's basically the fight. It's rinse and repeat, right? So it's a lot of like stuff that I feel like Freya also offers that's just like really nice and convenient for some of the things that you're going to be encountering. And that's one of the things. And the same thing will apply into Nightmare. I just haven't taken the time to do it yet. But yeah, that's basically that. And then you should be able to get your first epic stuff. Just to kind of harp on this a little bit, you're going to have Twilight Night, and of course you're going to have Black Flag. If you do a little bit of hard, these two are absolutely amazing to shift into. Black Flag is going to be great for those that's using Tiamat. And then of course Twilight Night is going to be great for obviously your DPS, your Messiahs, your Leons. Certain units like that are going to absolutely eat up the damage and the defense break that this pet gives. So it's really, really like astronomical shift for your account. Now the other thing is too, and I want to kind of shift gears here because we talked about Grim Pursuit. We went over modules. I mean, Animus XP and Prowess material, it's very simple. You do whatever the highest one is that you can do. Day 2, we stopped at 19. That's where you should be at about. GP Outpost, we cleared as much of this, but in reality, you should be at about level 9 or stage 9. That is then going to lock you out until you're level 28. Okay. So on all of them, you should be at about stage 9. Okay. And then from there, you're going to have the Anasync Echoes. I'll show you guys where I'm at. I'm at Kachi the Guard. That's just where I stopped though. There isn't anything that's like stamina oriented with this. So you push as much of this as you can. So you could technically be farther on this day 2. That's just where I personally had stopped. Right. Now from there, what we have open or what should unlock that day is the Ember Trek. The Ember Trek is going to actually be the tower mode. This is a way for you to get excess or more resources. Again, this is something that can help you further up, invest and build. So if you're realizing, oh man, I need more resources, I need more shadow prints, I need more EXP books, I need more Etheria coin, you can go in here and start climbing this, right? This is going to be a place where you can get certain things that's going to help you with investing in your account. They also have this supply hub, like roulette or like kind of spinning wheel, that also can give you more resources, right? Shadow prints, hydro crystals. This chest right here will actually evolve all or the two S tier slots. The bottom one will actually evolve all of the rewards. So this could become a 6-star or a 5-star shadow print, which is kind of crazy. The other one will ×2. So it is possible to actually roll, say, the bottom one and then the top one and then ×2 it with it being evolved. Like that is possible, by the way. So it's really crazy like how this event can work. There's some RNG in it, but definitely a nice little, extra thing that you can get from clearing the towers, which already give you rewards anyway. There's chests in there, and then there's first clear rewards on some of these stages as well. So that's like, again, huge boon in resources, and we're going to focus that a little bit more in day 3. Okay. So from there, The next thing is Etheria. Okay, where are we at in Etheria? I wish I would have showed this from day 2, really, but really at this point we're in gold. That's actually where we stopped. We haven't obviously dipped because we have a pretty decent defense. But the main thing is that I want to show you guys is what exactly did we go in here and we spend our arena star emblems on. Okay, so what I would say, and what has been like one of the biggest pieces of advice, I got to shout out to Scion for this, because I was like kind of thinking about it with like you having certain things like maybe gear wise, if you're having trouble, Etheria coin is going to be short in supply. Getting Etheria coin for like say that 125 is like insane value. Like that right there is almost probably like 1.5 mil. Like somewhere around there, almost 2 mil, an Etheria coin that you can buy. The Perfect Latice, yes, that's optimally what you would want to get, but I feel like the biggest thing right now is that you need to actually be building up your account. The value for that and the cost of that Perfect Latice is not going to amount to how much value you can get from leveling your gear up. Like that's just not, it's just not going to be able to compare, because I could go to 1 unit, whereas this could actually build up 4 or 5 units at that point, right? And we're talking about like being able to plus 12 your gear. That's going to be tremendous value in being able to allow you to push more content versus just one Perfect Latice, right? Now, later on, you're going to start being a little bit more optimal, going for the Perfect Latice and stuff like that. But this definitely helped out tremendously, and getting the Shadow Prints help out as well. Because remember, you want to start 6-starring characters. You want to start 5-starring characters. You want to start pushing them. So that does help out tremendously. Summon Arena is open. So that's something we're going to be doing in day 3. But with that being the case, that's Etheria, right? Very, very simple though. Defense wise, I know some people are gonna ask about defense. Dude, literally whatever the best of what you have put on there. If you got Tiamat, Kraken, and a Rotator, Doki Doki, Cheaki, that's who you can go for. There's people doing Marvel with like paired up with Doki or Rotator. So it's like those types of characters, like anyone that's able to CC, you could do Cleave, you can do Turn Reader still. There's a lot of those like defenses, and that's what I would say that actually can help you climb as well. It's having a really, really strong defense. So of course, I would say more than likely at this point, if you have a faster team, you can more than likely win on auto with most of the units that are going to be set up there. But again, that's just kind of that, right? And I have like even a fairly slower team and I'm still doing fine, right? So that's that. Now, outside of that, is there anything else that I can think of that was like really, really important? Not really. I mean, Union, I guess, is kind of a thing too. You want to make sure you're doing this. My guild, we were able to actually clear the very first one. When this is defeated though, you will have that kill chest that you can actually claim as well. So that's something that was like really, really important. So I should go here, right? So you'll be able to claim all the chests. So this is actually from day 2. We were able to basically finish that. More stamina, as you can see, but we're going to be using that today. And then the kill chest is going to be giving us more Etheria coin, Union coin, so we can just buy out more of the stuff in the shop. All right. So yeah, guys, that's like essentially that. That kind of covers like the basis of most of the stuff that we had to do. Some of the things that I would say you're really going to be working on. Day 3, you're going to start seeing more of the RTA push and things of that nature. So we're going to be getting into that streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/Zoxaskun, and on the YouTube channel, guys. So if you guys have any questions, even after watching this, make sure you guys come through. I'll happily answer them. And yeah, that's going to be that, guys. Everybody stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.